Welcome back to Religion's Black Eye. How do you like the new getup? Not too bad. Well, onto it. How do I know when my children are lying to me? Simply, they spend an inordinate amount of time constructing an elaborate answer to a simple question that only requires a simple answer. Let's say my son doesn't make it home by curfew. He walks in late, and when I ask him why he was late, he begins to explain that he witnessed a wreck on the way home, and that he had to stop and help, and that asked him to tell them what he saw, and that, blah, blah, blah. The real problem for my son, and the way that I know he is lying, is that when questioned about the incident at a later time, the lie will have grown to cover obvious inconsistencies. I can hear it now. You didn't see anything about the wreck on the news, online, in the paper, or on your scanner because it was, well, one of the vehicles in the wreck was a UFO and the government is just trying to cover it all up. That would be incredibly silly, I admit, but does the Bible do much better? Once upon a time, there were only two people in the whole world. His name was Adam. Her name was Eve. They had two sons, Cain and Abel. One day Cain murdered his brother Abel, and then Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. And Cain had relations with his wife and she conceived and gave birth to Enoch, and he built a city and called the name of the city Enoch after the name of his son. So what is the answer to where did Cain get his wife? First, the Christian apologetics answer. Cain married one of his sisters. Here's how they explain that one. This is taken from christiananswers.net. Hold on tight. Cain was the first child of Adam and Eve recorded in scripture, Genesis 4:1. His brothers, Abel, Genesis 4:2, and Seth, Genesis 4:25, were part of the first generation of children ever born on this earth. Even though only these three males are mentioned by name, Adam and Eve had other children. In Genesis 5:4, a statement sums up the life of Adam and Eve in the days of Adam, after he had fathered Seth were 800 years. And he fathered sons and daughters. This does not say when they were born. Many could have been born in the 130 years, Genesis 5:3, before Seth was born. During their lives, Adam and Eve had a number of male and female children. The Jewish historian Josephus wrote that the number of Adam's children, as says the old tradition, was 33 sons and 23 daughters. The Bible does not tell us how many children were born to Adam and Eve. However, considering their long lifespans, Adam lived for 930 years Genesis 5:5, it would seem reasonable to suggest there were many. Remember, they were commanded to be fruitful and multiply Genesis 1:28. One thing that absolutely makes me crazy is the Christian use of ambiguity when convenient. Ask if a snake talks, and you get an answer in the emphatic positive. Ask where Cain's wife came from, and you get a bunch of nonsense like, the Bible does not tell us how many children were born to Adam and Eve. However, considering their long lifespans, it would seem reasonable to suggest there were many. Isn't it just simpler to admit that it is all made up? The story of Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden is a myth. It was a Bronze Age answer to the question of where did we come from? It was simply a story to appease our curiosity, and don't you think it's time to let it go? You are an amazing creature. Brilliant, beautiful, and wonderful, and you do not need a magic man in the sky to be so. There have never been 930-year-old men, and we are not the result of the practice of incest, which is even denounced by the Bible, as would have to be the case given that this story were true. Come on, folks. Isn't the real answer to where did Cain get his wife that there never was a Cain to begin with? Until next time, this is Religion's Black Eye.